Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday, August 13th, 2025. I forgot to turn on my light. Hang on. I really hope y'all can see me. Um, Somebody chime in if this is all hunky dory. I see people in the chat, so just give me a thumbs up or something here. Thumbs up. All right. Thank you, Inky. Um, so apologize for thanks, Olive. Yesterday. Um, Yesterday was a very busy day, very busy day, and um, at 1:59, I was finally finished with what I was doing, and I ran upstairs to my computer, clicked on Streamlabs, which I've been using for streaming, right? Obviously, and it did, it did that thing you never want to see right before, if you're too late for something. And it started to update to version 1.19.2. Didn't ask, just did it, and then promptly proceeded to crash, which led to the next at least hour trying to figure out why it crashed, how I could uninstall, reinstall. I didn't want to lose all my scenes because I don't know, where they are stored, how they're stored. And after much to do, discovered in Streamlabs infinite wisdom. I should just put, I should have a button. So when it's a Brian rant session, I'm going to put the button on. In their infinite wisdom, they decided they were no longer going to support Mac operating systems below OS 13. It worked fine on Monday. It worked fine all last week, week before. Nothing wrong with it. And of course, my machine's on 12.7.6. It's an old machine. I get that. Uh, but these days, when if you don't have a specific use case, right? If you're not doing video editing, image editing, if you're checking email and most of your stuff is web app, you don't need to replace your machine every year. And being that I just got a new laptop last week, I'm not replacing an iMac. Um, and yeah, so I absolutely cannot. This machine is incompatible with OS 13, so instantly could not use the software, could not log in because every time I tried a number of different previous versions, they all automatically update and then they automatically crash. And so after quite some time, I actually I submitted a ticket with them, and then I actually went to Reddit of all places against my better judgment. But come to find out, Streamlabs is like more responsive on Reddit because they monitor that forum, they moderate it, than they are with their tickets. I don't think I've received a response to my ticket yet, but they came on there to say, well, we no longer support we no longer support anything below OS 13. And so what you're going to have to do, are you ready for this? Imagine this as a long-term solution. Here's the old download link. And then when you launch it, turn off Wi-Fi until it loads, and then you can turn Wi-Fi on again. Like, I'm supposed to do that every day? No. Why would I do that? Why would I support that kind of crappy code writing? There is no Gourmet. How are you? Aziza. Wow. Long time no see. Um, so yeah, so I said, that, and this is not my forte. I repair pens. I don't know all I don't know all the ins and outs, but after much to do, I ported over to OBS, and of course, what Streamlabs said, it did work. To turn off my Wi-Fi, launched the program. I launched it just enough so I can export, or essentially import from OBS, my Streamlabs settings, and here we are. So pardon my French, but to hell with them. I mean, give me some notice. Don't just do it. Come on, man. How was everybody? So anyway, yeah. So and I was looking forward to coming on. I was gonna change all these little things up here. Some of y'all probably got the announcement, or heard the announcement. You're glad you went with OBS. Great, yeah. Somebody should have talked me into it earlier, I suppose. I think Mike Madison tried to, and for some reason I went with Streamlabs. I'm not really sure why. You thought you were abandoning you to YouTube? No. No, I mean, all this stuff will port over to YouTube eventually. But it was just such a cluster. It was such a cluster, and after we sent the email out in the morning, I mean, I had hundreds of emails. I'm like, oof, and by the time I went to bed, I answered every single one. I replied to every single email. So, it was something else. So, in case you didn't hear, here is the long and short of it. The new company is called Cardinal Pens and Paper. Cardinal like the bird. The new website will be cardinalpens.com. We will be launching on Friday, 1:30 p.m. Central Time here in the U.S. We will have a live YouTube. So we will do podcast number 1 at 1:30, and at some point during the podcast, you get the theme now. Yeah. At some point during the podcast, probably between 2 and 2:30, who knows how long it's going to be, depends on how long we yammer on. We will turn the site live. So right now, if you go to cardinalpens.com, it will just tell you we're down for maintenance. And there's a ton of stuff to do between now and Friday morning. I mean, it sounds like a lot of time, but I just got an order of some platinum inks in today. So I got to take care of that. I mean, I took it out of the box. That's as far as I got. I verified it is what I ordered, and that's all I got. I didn't put it on the website. I need images. I got to find them. So YouTube is at Cardinal Pens. You can use kind of the same thing. You're online enough that you saw the name link. Okay, good. Let's see. Oh, hey, look, Munchkin. All right, and Munchkin is my daughter, so she is in the chat. What is she in? Is she actually in the chat? Is she in the chat? I don't see her, but she just texted me. She's texting me now. She's hiding. Whoops. Copy. Oh, okay. If any of y'all are interested, there's a link. If you're not on the newsletter, there's the sign up. Because I know some people had inquired about getting on. So, yeah. So Munchkin's doing a bang up job. Let me just gush about my daughter, and she's doing a fantastic job. I mean, really, so proud of her. And doing good work, doing good work. So we look forward to moving things along. So yeah, so Friday, 1:30 p.m. Central, live podcast. It's there's a little surprise in it for some folks who are watchers of the old podcast. Our new intro is awesome. I really love it. In fact, when when my daughter first did it, she I must have played the damn thing 20 times. I think I'll play that again. That's really good. So, looking forward to it. It'll be fun. I think we have some semblance of what we're going to talk about, but a little bit slightly different format. Not too much. Maybe a joke. And I know some people had asked about the ink bottle dude. And that's not going to happen, but it might get revitalized in some other way. So anyway, so that's that. I don't know that I have much else to munch on here. We got some pens to repair. Actually, I got some crap on my desk I need to get off first before we can. I forgot. I have like these 4 piles of things on my desk that for whatever reason I haven't done anything with, but they're on my desk because at some point I want to do something with them. They're like piles of parts. There's a bag and a tray, and but I haven't done anything with them for I don't know how long, months. And every day I move them because they're in the way. So I really just need to get rid of them. Put them somewhere. Hans, you will be happy to know I spoke with your brother this morning, and he is going to be working like a madman to get a couple things done for us before Friday. So I have no doubt in his ability to make that happen in such a minute time frame. But we had a nice long Zoom call this morning, and hashed through a few problems that some of the testers, some of you testers in chat, if any of you are there, I don't know if any of you are, had discovered. So we had some issues with the mobile site and a couple other things, and I believe we should be able to get everything pretty much taken care of, which is good. So every problem that everybody found, we've basically found a solution for or has been fixed. So that is good because I'm tired of finding, you do this like once and then like you go 15 years and you're like, oh, okay, well now I got to start over, and you forget things. Like I discovered yesterday, 3 days before launch, I didn't have tax set up for Wisconsin customers. It never occurred to me that when I was placing test orders for myself, I was not being charged tax. Well, I didn't have tax set up properly for Wisconsin. So, speaking of platinum products, you're going to carry the new Preppy Wah line. I have a few of those on your wish. We've had those in the past. My only problem with them, right now, no, I don't have any. My budget is really, what's left of my budget is super tight. And so I decided the best use of my platinum funds were carbon black, Chokuro, some cartridges and some converters. And that's where I'm starting. Preppies will be next, of course. Preppy Wahs never really did all that well, and we were required to buy them like in like a large, and like you had to buy like, so for regular Preppies you got to buy them 10 at a time. No big deal, they come in a box. But for Preppy Wah you have to buy 10 of each color in the series at a time. You know, and so it's and then you know, then the bad color sits, right? So I don't know. Possibly I'll have to look at it. You know, if there's a couple of them in particular you're interested in, shoot me an email. You can still use the Esterbrook .net one up here for now, and I'll look at I'll see what it's going to take. So I mean my startup funds are basically burned. I got a sailor order in yesterday. Um, I should say a Toya or a Sailor Compass. Um, so we've got two zoo coming, including well, I guess they're new to me. They're new to me. New colors in violet, and there's a light blue, I think, is the other one. Um, so I got two zoos coming, and the standard blue, black ink, and cartridges and converters. So that was my extent of my sailor order. But I expect that these things are going to scale. You know, they'll scale well, and it's just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. If anyone can work a tight deadline, your web developer, yeah. I mean, I couldn't do it, but then that's not what I do. So you know, I can't possibly comprehend. But after our conversation, he understood, and I think we actually had like I only had like 5 things, and I think 2 of them were pretty much ironed out, basically done by the time we got done with our call. So I mean, he was strong positive reaction to it. So. All right. This seems to be working all right. OBS is not terrible. I like it. Let's go to the bench where I can't see anything. Ta-da. Okay. Move this out of the way. So I got a couple things I got to do. So this is kind of embarrassing. I don't know why this was in my ultrasonic, but I changed my ultrasonic water, and this is a this goes in a 444. Now I thought we had put both of these in the 2 444s we restored last week or Monday or whenever it was, but we'll have to check. And this pen here, I noticed, which is going on the website, it's got like a dirty nib. It actually has ink in it, so we got to clean this one out. I can use the vanishing point section of the salad spinner. Man, I hate this. These converters are terrible. I mean, really, seriously. How can you not fill that up? It's filling up right to here, but you have to replace the nib if it's dirty and then send you the old one. It's probably a first generation stub. Hey, Spicy. Your email had you study back title, Mr. Brian. So I saw this. Well, I got to clean this. We can't. Man, I hate these. These are just. How can such a decent pen company make such crappy converters? I mean, seriously. I mean, I know we've just people have discussed that ad infinitum, ad nauseum. They're shockingly bad. Yeah, you know, and like the only redeeming quality, I guess, if there is one about the Con 40, is it fits in the E95S, where the Con 50 didn't. I make better videos than 99% of the YouTube sphere. Did you watch some of the videos on YouTube? Yeah, I had 2 perfectly good converters before. I'm gonna drop this in there. That's just ridiculous. Yeah, so we actually shot. My daughter and I shot a ton of videos. I think the total number was 30. I think it was a total of 30 videos that one day, and we have so many things that have to be done before Friday that I was like, well, Get 4 videos done. Stop. You know, we'll get back to the rest. Unfortunately, one of them we've got to redo because it just didn't turn out right. Having some issues um, with the focus. If they didn't see your smiling face, they would think he's grumpy. Oh, well, you know. I don't care if people think I'm grumpy. I know I am sometimes. Well, so little micro gloss here will get this off. Looks like it's getting it off pretty well. The real question is which one of these 444s was this on? My voice is soft, yeah. Well, I try to talk, unless I'm excited. When I'm excited, I talk really fast. I really talk fast, but I try to slow my cadence down a little bit. I don't know, Riley, we do. It doesn't need to be perfect. I just want it to be better than... Okay. Everything is coming together. I got my new postal scale today. I had printing issues on Monday. I think I figured that out. That was user error. Brian's trying to actually give correct information and he sounds serious while doing it. Most of what you see on YouTube is misleading, if not outright wrong. Well, you know, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, you know. It's funny, interesting how much of an accent Chicago has from, say, Nebraska, Iowa. Where arguably, we don't have any accent. Now, I don't know why Stream Elements just put that up. Spicy has been following for 4 months, 24 days. Why did it do that? The time does go fast. I didn't ask it to do that. Did you ask it to do that? Who knows? It's a feature try to concur. Oh, okay, I get it. Okay. Well, I mean, I've never seen it before. He did follow age. Oh, I see. Okay, all right. There we go. I missed that. I missed that piece of the chat. Ooh. Omaha Dad game. 6 months, 16 days, 3 hours. Yeah, definitely come to a U.S. Pen Show. All right. That's enough of that. My nice new clean water is now filled with microgloss. Go. I'm not going to give every nook and cranny out of this, but a person could. You think it's the black one? That I must have forgotten. I'm clearly either that or there were 2. I mean, I've never seen that. Ah, there we go. Okay. All right. This has been kind of on my list for a while. I got to, like, there are some pens that, yeah, 50-50 chance, yeah. Well, I hope it's not going too bad. I hope you're feeling at least a little better. Uh, I had like 4 pens that after I finished them and polished them up and got them all set, that they were like, there was just like 1 or 2 small things wrong with them. I'm like, oh, can't let them go that way. So this one was easy enough. You're finally negative for COVID. Okay, good, good. I chatted a little bit with Mike Madison this morning from Ink Dependence, and he's they're doing a little better. You know, maybe there's a market for a pilot compatible converter. Well, I know there is, but I mean, you know, I had a little chat with Scott Franklin yesterday. He seemed to have escaped the COVID bug. Yeah, cartridge all the way. I mean, your capacity's better. It's such a good design that it's never gonna wear out. You seem to escape DC without catching anything, but now a coworker I saw Monday tested code positive. Oh shit. Ah, Ballast converters are so dimension specific they can almost be no variation. Okay. I'm not certain I've used the vanishing point segment of this little guy, so we're gonna give that a spin, so to speak. No pun intended. Look at that. Perfect. Yeah, I see that you guys are doing the FC tour. I have been there before. It's a really cool. I don't know if maybe he's moved though. I don't know. Oh, he has moved. That's right. He has moved. I was at the old facility. He's got a much bigger facility now, I think. In fact, it's been so long that I think the last time we went, he was actually still making a pen for us. It's many times larger and gorgeous. Yeah. Okay. That's good. Great. Don't have to worry about that and cross that off my super long list of crap to do. What do we got? We were working on these. Um. Oh, and you went Dan was still working for him, building lathes. Yeah, Dan was there when I was there too. Dan's a good guy. You want your first video ever to be what to do with a pilot converter, and then take it out and throw it out? No, I don't have a problem. I think Pilot's cartridges are excellent. They're excellent, especially for refilling capacity. The nipple, I mean, the opening is perfect because of the way it sits in the pen. You know, the international nipple is so subject to widening after repeated use. I think they've got that part nailed down. They just they keep screwing up the cartridge or the converter. All right. Yeah, cartridges are just a way to go. So oddly enough, so we talked about this pen here, the Model BT, on Monday. I did try to find that stinking ad that talks about the material. And I couldn't find it. And of course, there's Dow Chemical and there was DuPont. I would think it would had to have been one of those. I just don't remember. I think at the time I just expected that this deal was going to happen for this stuff, and it didn't. I'm sure I had an iPhone at the time. I should have taken a picture because it was an amazing reference. It's the only time I've ever seen this particular model represented. Ever. And interestingly enough, yesterday I was offered one of these pens and the matching pencil. And I believe I mentioned that the pencil is even rarer than the pen. Harder to find than the pen. So. All right, we'll take these apart. Buying the syringes the best purchase you ever make? Yeah, syringes are great. We've got them all over here. I mean, I've even got some in the kitchen drawers. I don't know why they're there, but they are. They're so convenient. Something funny when you went to buy your syringe. All right, this one I am going to use heat because we're just going to cross our fingers on this one. I'll have to find a working nib for it, but I don't want to put it in water because water will just ruin the pen. Hey, it's just a really stupid thing. It really is a stupid thing. What is it? 219. We should probably pick a couple more pen. One more pen. Actually, no. I'm not gonna do that. We could, but I want to finish this thing up. And I've got that nib that I think is really, really pretty close to being done. It's, maybe it's at the max of my abilities to work on those things. It is somewhat important to understand where your abilities end. Dude behind you gave a nasty look. Like you were a drug addict buying a syringe. Took your pen out and laughed at him. Probably could do a little bit more cleaning up there. Let's your farmers just kicked them out. Nice. All right. Nothing in there. Sure. There. Not original sacks, but doesn't matter. You don't want to use them anyway. Hey, there we go. Actually, this is incredibly nerdy, but I'm looking to see if this one actually was imprinted. Now, this also could have been a replacement. I don't really know when they started marking their sacks. It's definitely going to be the weirdest pen on the website. That is for sure. I'm sure some people are going to look at that and go, why on earth? It'd be fun to get that stamp and stamp special 16 sacks at specific Esterbrook replacements, double the price. Well, so actually, the stamp exists. Todd owns it. And he has actually made some sacks with using, the yellow, the similar yellow paint on it. Yeah, you know where it is. Yeah. He says, but it took forever to dry. It took days to dry. Because I said, why don't we make some? Why don't we do that? I'll buy some. But he's like, you got to do it by hand, one by one. Because the machine that they used for it, they threw away, was thrown away many years ago. So he had to do it. He was doing it hand by piece by piece. And I can't remember if he said it took days to dry or something. Asked to buy the stamp. Yeah, I have. I think now in his current position, I think he's not inclined to want to depart with it. So it would be great to have it. I'm looking for a pen. There's one right here, for heaven's sakes. Yeah, you would have to charge double. Be something you do at the dinner table after dinner. We got 225. Well, that's a 25. Well, it's off the feed. Yeah. Oh. Right in there. Yeah, that would be a great thing to have. Because I would take every Esterbrook I ever get. I'd put a new sack and I would stamp that on there. I used to do that back in the day. I would, if I found these pliable sacks out of something, or if I was restoring a pen to sell, I would take this sack out and I would put it in, one of my earlier pens. Kind of goofy, but all right, let's see if this will be the last. Last time we need to do this. It's like I do have somewhere. I've got some old printing blocks from they have like Esterbrook nibs or something on them. And I was considering what was Chris's company's name? The guy in Baltimore, Chris, that had what the heck was the name of his company? He made the notebooks, right notepads. I was thinking about, because we did a tour of his facility one time when we were there, and I was going to send him my blocks, but I was a little nervous in doing so. I think he closed his business he shut down if I'm not mistaken. I was paranoid I was going to send him and, I would never get him back. Not that I didn't think Chris was trustworthy, but, And there was a guy in Chicago a couple years ago that he had a huge bin of printing blocks of like Spencerian writing and stuff. Just giving them away. I had some, and I don't remember what happened to them. I had them at the store. I may have given them away. I don't remember. Hey, I think finally this might be it. This looks really good. I mean, it looks as good as it's going to be. I really ought to go back. I have no idea when we started this. It was forever ago. Probably one of those things I should have taken a picture of. But it's kind of such a kind of a cool pen. I think for me anyway, I think it's a neat. I like some of these Parker Arrows. The 45 with the plastic cap essentially. I know they weren't designed to compete with anything expensive, but yeah, that looks pretty decent. Now, if you had to charge by the hour for as long as it took me to get this far, totally not worth it. $400 pen. Yeah, I mean, it's. And the scary thing is I started this pen years ago. I remember it. I remember it when I had my bench set up in my basement. You know, back in the day when your bench doesn't include a Mac and a microphone, and forgot to turn this light on. Not that that makes much difference. The camera and all that stuff. You know, when a bench was a bench. Labor included. I mean, so and I had started the filling process back then. I mean, this is probably. I would not be surprised if this was a 4-year. I probably started it when Lisa was still in Chicago. I mean, what are we going on? 4 years? 20. Yeah, 4 years. It's 4 or 5 years in the making. Now watch tonight. My cat will jump up on the counter and chew it and put a hole in it. It would have been easy to give up last week and say, okay, this is close enough. And quite frankly, if there's any imperfections when we're done, I think this is really pretty good. So I don't think we're not going to get rid of that mark, but it is smooth to the touch. And that was just a really bad scratch. Same there. I mean, so it's got a little bit of waviness, but I mean, it's 110% better. At least it's not sitting in the parts bin. That's kind of the worst, you know, when you got something it is usable. It's not one of those pens that we've seen that we can't get apart. If I really wanted to punish myself, I would try to take this cap off, but I think earlier in the summer we proved that that was not an easy task. I kind of had a feeling that once we started going down this route on this cap, that it was going to be problematic. Just hard to get in. To get it sanded down correctly. But I think if you've been repairing pens long enough, we all have a $400 or $500 of labor into something that's worth $20, you know. Sometimes there's a lot of fun in that. I know it's not worth much, but I think we can, I think we can get this pen writing. And how great would that be? Yeah, for sure. And sometimes in this hobby, it's not always about expenses, and I've said that before. What your expenses are on the project. If we were keeping track of how much money it costs to go hunt and buy pens in the wild, I mean, your margin is pretty minimal. You have to get really lucky a lot of the time. And be able to buy a lot when the opportunity presents itself. Because if you do end up somewhere and they've got a ton of pens, you've got to be able to buy as many as possible to maximize your if you're looking to do it that way. Fuzzy, how are you doing? How many sleeps until the big day? Well, let's see. Wednesday. Crap, two. Two. Ooh. It's gonna be fine. I'm looking forward to it. Actually, I sort of am and sort of am not. You know, um, because then Friday I shift from I have to shift focus then because right now I'm trying to get everything perfect. I'm not really trying to get it perfect, but no all-nighter going into Friday. I don't know. Actually, I would say it's probably not going to be necessary. Um, I've actually been working on this website for quite a while. Um, every day for a couple months for sure. And please tell me there will be a dad joke on the YouTube. I am in the process of picking out a dad joke. So, not to spoil the fun. But I'm not going to tell you everything because there is at least one really cool surprise. But don't try to be like Lisa and try to get it out of me now. Because Lisa would do that. She'd be like, "I said I've got a surprise for you." Oh, well. Are we going out to eat? Where are we going? Are we going to the Olive Garden? Are we going to Lombardi's? Are we, I have been permitted to tell the joke. So, yeah, it's going like that, right? I don't know. I got to find a really good one though. It has to be epic. I know what my first joke was. The first joke I ever told on a podcast was. I think I do. Let me think about it for a second. It was a pirate joke. I can't remember if it was the Arby's joke or not. But it was a pirate joke. I once had a list, a Google document, where I would put down what every joke was that I told every week. It got to be a little bit ridiculous to try to. It doesn't sound like that would be hard to keep up with, but I mean, I guess I got nothing. I had more. I don't have enough time now, but I had nothing but time the last 8 months. I probably could have done it. But then there were jokes on Sunday brunch, and you can't tell the same joke. And Eric and I would tell sometimes 2, 3 jokes, sometimes more. I don't know. Eric, are you on here? Did you make it? No idea. Trying to get Eric to join us in on the chat today. Well, the nice thing about Friday is Lisa doesn't work Friday, so her last day of the week is tomorrow. It's an early day. It always is on Thursdays, but she's done at 4. And she'll be home, and then we can get cooking, so to speak. A good night's rest, I think, though, is critical. All right, well, I think it's got a nice juicy medium nib on it. Yeah, so there was a big scratch. Looks like I maybe missed a spot here. I can polish that with a little microgloss. Much better. I mean, like I've said before, if you're working on an imperfect object, don't make it perfect because you'll never get it perfect. But it's now presentable. It's got that little scratch mark, but you run your finger over it and it's all filled in. It's smooth. It's a nice looking pen. Like a British racing green almost. All right. Yeah, oddly enough, I used to get my jokes from a couple of Facebook pages. No J bar. And when we stopped doing podcasts, the oddly enough, the jokes stopped appearing. I don't know if the algorithm changed on Facebook or what happened, but they stopped appearing on my feed. Will you offer a beer, wine, coffee pairing suggestion with the pen each week? I have a Skyline on my desk right now that only deserves a Busch Light. Oof. Busch Light. Yeah, I mean, that must be bad, huh? That would be interesting. A little beer, wine pairing. My response probably for the next 2 months is going to be Kentucky bourbon, tangerine, and tangerine cream ale. It's going to crack when you open it. Yeah, I love that tangerine cream. It's so good. Lisa looks at me like, that can't possibly be good. She's tried it. She said, it just sounds awful. I haven't had a, knock on wood, I haven't had a Skyline break in that fashion in a while. Now, the last one we had, the section cracked in half. So, I mean, like in half. But the barrel is still good. But Busch Light is really pretty awful. That's like what you drink when you go over to your in-laws, brother's friend's place or something for the weekend. But if it's bad too. All right, all right. Okay, I didn't put these two in because they're both black, and I kind of want to keep them the same on those pens. I guess I could tape them. Well, let's see if this one is ready. Oh my goodness. Oh. There is ink coming all out of that. I left my ballpoint of all things downstairs, so. Let's see. Broken pencil. That's not. Oh, maybe that won't. Maybe that won't rub off. That'll rub off. Let's see. Two. Add in there. Let's take a look at the nibs here real quick. At least see if we can get these open. Yeah, I don't even have I haven't seen all of the digital assets yet for the podcast, so I've seen some of them, but not all put together. Um, and then there are some scene images. That I don't know that I'm going to see until after the fact. We'll probably see them on Friday morning. I'm going to drop those back in there just for a little extra. All right. Now to remember where I put my sacks. I don't know if this is a stupid idea to sack this pen or not, but did my sack order arrive on time? Of course it didn't. Speaking of sack, I know. It's just ridiculous. I get these. In fact, I should email them. I get that all the time. Oh, yeah, it'll be there at 12. Yeah, sure. Like, I'm not even upset anymore. Like, if I get something within 2 months of when I order it, on time. Or it shows up today and the porch pirate comes and steals it. I don't know. Wouldn't that be something? That'd be a heck of a surprise. Yeah, so the other day, Monday, we got this delivery for Lisa. As it turns out, it's the package that she had stolen a couple weeks before, minus the box. If you can believe that. So somebody opened the box, and then obviously didn't want to just like put the box down. So there was a label on. There was a plastic because it was some clothes, and so it was in a clear bag, and it had a label with her name on it. And apparently, after they opened the box and either realized, I think it was maybe had to have been one of our neighbors, had to have been. They didn't want to put the opened box back on the porch, so they just put it. They just put the bag right next to the door. I'm like, that's kind of a weird way for Amazon to ship something. What if you don't want people to know what clothes you're buying? She's like, yeah, no. So somebody had it for like a couple of weeks, and then dropped it back off on the doorstep. Such a weird thing. I'm gonna shoot him an email. I really should. Yeah, I know I need a camera. Amazon's the problem. Everything else comes, before this hour, before, everything else comes while I'm actively, in my living room working on stuff, so I hear the truck when it comes. In fact, I was on the Zoom call with your brother and I got two different deliveries while I was on the call with your brother. Yeah, 3 a.m. to 11 p.m. Yeah, it's coming now. Yeah, sometimes they throw it in your mailbox. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. There we go. I need a J-bar for that guy. So we take this tray out. Man, I hate these trays. Yeah, I talked to Lisa about that, but it's like one of those, well, what is our list of priorities? At first, it was not having a computer start on fire in the house. That was a real important priority. Yeah, if you pick with the computer. Computer catches on fire. It'd be nice on a cold day. Yeah. We got a little bonfire. We'll roast marshmallows. I mean, it's so ridiculous because we actually had a conversation like, well, what's because this thing was not plugged in at all, and I had closed the lid, wasn't plugged in, and I hadn't used it in 3 hours, 4 hours maybe, because I had used it, done some streaming, and then I hopped on my bike and I was riding my bike, and then like, oh, it's probably maybe let's just say it was 3 hours. It was so hot to the touch, and we actually had a conversation like, well, what should we do with it? I don't want it to catch fire, because before it would do that, if I left it plugged in overnight, I would wake up in the morning and it would be like, I mean, it was beastly. So I said, okay, we're not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to plug it in. And then all of a sudden, it happened when it was not plugged in. And we're like, well, what are we going to do? I mean, should we put it in the oven? I'm like, well, why don't we put it in the freezer? Well, not the freezer. Maybe the fridge. Maybe we'll put it in the fridge. Well, it can still catch on fire. Let's put it in the oven. That way, if it catches on fire, can you imagine waking up, pouring your coffee? Like, what does that smell? There's MacBook all over your oven. It was a legit conversation. I'm like, this is absurd. This is really absurd. I don't want to buy a laptop, but she's like, we're getting a laptop. Good afternoon, Jason. How are you? Should have done this without the J-bar in, but I forgot. Yeah, I mean, I might fire that thing up when the winter hits. Maybe it'll be good for like a little footrest. Is a package coming today? I forgot to track it. Your package went by tomorrow. Okay. Your package went by bike, by truck, by train. Like I'm thinking, this isn't a terrible ride. A wet bicyclist. It wasn't a terrible ride to the post office. I mean, it's real close, but I'm thinking, how many times is it going to be this few packages? I guess I could make multiple trips. That would be fun, huh? Then maybe they feel sorry for me and do a pickup. So I did yesterday get, as I mentioned earlier, quite a response from our mailer, including, at last count, maybe four, maybe it's five. I lost count actually. Um, requests for some consignment pens. So there are going to be more coming. And my daughter is working hard and getting. I know she's gotten more than I thought she was going to get done. Quite frankly, given all the work that we've thrown at her. So I'm hoping that we'll have a majority of. I think there are 585 pens, less the two that Jason got, and a couple others. There's probably about five. Let's just say 575 pens at launch. So, which is pretty fun. And then we've got some backlog, so there's going to be some good stuff coming for quite a while. This is maybe the stupidest restoration ever. Definitely won't be your last order. Awesome. You were really, really, seriously a great help. Um, so much appreciated. Everything you mentioned should be addressed. So um, hopefully by the time Friday rolls around. And we found a couple more bugs too. All right, how are we gonna clean this out? I guess with water. Happy to do it. Your Twitch streams in the past have been a pleasure. Oh, great. Thank you. Very kind. So ugly. I wish there was something we could do about this, but great if we could just heat that and it would pop back out. Now I've never tried it, but I don't think it's going to work that way. I am going to make sure we're gonna spin this thing out before we let it dry because I just can't risk coming back tomorrow and the whole thing is shot. Because then it doesn't matter if it's got a good sack on it. It's just not gonna. Your cap's not gonna work, right? And it's almost like a burn mark too. Heated self-expanding mandrel inside. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Here we go again. It's $1,000 cap. Well, the problem is that number one, I got to get a mandrel that's the right size. Number two, we would have to remove the inner cap. Yeah, it's there's just so few of them out there. There really are. I think the best we can do is we might be able to polish this up a little bit. At least it's a uniform deformation, you know, and at least the cap band is still on the cap. Oftentimes you find them in the cap band is completely off because it's shrunk or. But I found it interesting last night that I got a text from somebody saying, "Hey, what is this?" It's like, "Ah, I think that's my pencil. That's gonna be mine." Even better yet, it's gonna be a trade, so it's really not gonna be. And a trade for something that's a pain in the butt. Esterbrook ballpoint pens. Never work. Can't use a modern refill. Let's get a little light on the subject here. Well, I can't really tell. I don't think there is an inner cap in here. What type of refills did they have? So they used a proprietary refill. Um, that actually can be pseudo retrofitted, but it's a royal pain. The front ends of the ballpoint so it's your standard terrible drawing here, right? Your standard, it's got this little thin piece in the front, and then there's like a little plastic spacer that notches into the inside of the barrel. This is the critical point right there. This piece here can be pulled out and removed, and then you actually can fit a D1 or D132 mini refill will fit in here. But you've got to measure this distance because when you push it in, it has to be that far. And you also have to measure the distance it goes in, and then you have to trim the mini refill. So the mini refill is short enough as it is. You got to cut some of it off, make a mess, somehow keep the end of the refill perfectly round, because it's got to go back in this through this plastic spacer here. And you can't screw this spacer up. If you screw this spacer up in any way, the refill won't work. You know, if you accidentally scratch it, you nick it, you put a mark in it, it won't notch into the pen correctly, and it won't engage properly. If you get this distance wrong, it won't engage properly. And then what do you do when that mini refill runs out? You've got to do the same thing. So it's not a really good user friendly solution. You know, yeah, I've had people pay me to do it before, and I just don't want to do it because it stinks. Because you're cutting, number one, you're cutting the refill off, and then it's not really user serviceable. You got to send it back to the repair guy to do it. Now, there was somebody. Yeah, best solution is to pass them on to another collector who needs them. Yeah, you know, I mean, if you get them working and they work, and you can get a refill that works, then maybe they're a $75 pen. Maybe. Only based on scarcity, because you know when it dries out, you're back at square zero. There was somebody who made, and I forget who it was, and I should have probably paid more attention to it. They created a 3D printed holder in this shape that fits the entire D1 mini D1 refill. So you can slide the whole thing in, stick it in your ballpoint, and go. From what I recall, the price was, I mean, it was okay from an end user standpoint. I want to say it was $20 or $25. You know, but you factor in your price of the pen, a $20, essentially a $20 holder for a refill that you now have to supply. And those refills aren't that bad. They're a couple bucks each. You buy them in packs of 4 for $8 or $10 or something like that. So they're not terrible. Yeah, collector has it to fill a spot in their collection. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, they're cool. They're cap actuated. If you get one that works, you know, not a terrible thing to have. I mean, you know, you can get lots of different mini refill color choices. You know, I mean, you got your standards: black, blue, red, green. But, you know, Monteverde makes a ton of different colors. You know, brown, orange, purple. I mean, they got them all, you know. So if you had the holder for it, and I forget who makes it, and I thought, you know, maybe I ought to just get it, but I mean, you can't make any money on it. You know, and for me, if I sell it and it's over, so you've got, so let's just say it's a $20 holder, plus I got to pay shipping. So let's just say it cost me $30 for the holder for the refill. I got to pay for the refill. Say we're at $32 now. Whatever my cost of the pen is, if the pen goes over $59, now I'm shipping it for free, so I lose $8. Yeah. Yeah, and I just picked up an extra I think another 3 of them in that Esterbrook collection. So, yeah, there's an offer on the table to trade them, which I was kind of surprised at because I told I told this person, I said, well, everything I've told you, you got to be careful. It's a pain in the ass. Pardon my French. And you got to find someone who's willing to pay more than $50 for it because they should be a $75 pen. But you don't have a lot of, fine, medium, broad options. Yeah, and this is to another dealer, so it was very strange, because they acknowledged that it was probably a waste of their time. Now they want everything that I have, so I don't know. The pencil trade in question is definitely less valuable than than the number of ballpoints I have. That I'm kind of thinking I might get rid of it. Normally I don't do stuff like that, but I'm kind of thinking this might be a trade I should exercise. You know, and it might end up being pens for pens. I think that's probably the best way to do it between dealers. Yeah, I mean it's worthwhile. I mean the best part about it, right? So it's model FJ, which goes with the J series: black, blue, red, copper, green, gray. Um, so there's only six. There's only 6 models. There's only 6 colors, right? No, they made them in M2s. They made them in. They made them in a couple other models too. Not many, but there's not a ton. There's not a ton of Esterbrook original Esterbrook ballpoints. So yeah, for a completist, I don't think that really did much. I think it took the grime off. I think it looks a little better. For completists, yeah, it's a really easy typeset, and boom, you're done. You're lucky you're done with your completist phase. Esterbrook would offer so many compelling series to collect. Yeah. All right, Fuzzy. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I mean Esterbrook does have that, and I think what's compelling for Esterbrook, unlike some other brands, just based on the fact that we have these renew points that we can swap between. I mean that's perfect, right? Any pen between 1931 and 1971 uses the same nib unit. 40 years of the same nib unit. You can't say that for Parker. A 1931 Parker and a whatever they made in 71. I guess that was the end of the 51 was 71. Yeah, element of challenge certainly there when you get into more instant plus. Yeah. So I mean with Esterbrook though, it's like typically there was always only ever 6 colors of anything. The number of actual prototypes. I mean, yeah, there's a few out of them, but they've all come out of essentially the same collection. I think they've pretty much run their course now. That doesn't look so bad, does it? Um, if you really want to get into imprints and all that stuff, you can, but if you want to give it and get every color of M2 they ever made, piece of cake. I mean, it's not going to be. I would say I'm not going to say it's going to be hard, but it's not terribly easy. It's enough of a challenge. And it's certainly not going to be like trying to get one of every Vacuumatic. And I think for some collectors that is the challenge. How many will I be able to find? And you can do it relatively easy with Esterbrook. But you're still not going to be, yeah. Yeah, with Vacuumatics, yeah, you need $1 million. Easy. Right? I mean, I don't even know. You need a lot of money. I mean, although at today's prices for Esterbrook's, I mean, if you want to be a completist, there's a lot of variation, really. I think this is as good as it's going to get. I mean, take a look. This is the worst Esterbrook you are ever going to see me try to sell. Yeah, you know what happens with vanishing points. You know, and the only reason I'm even attempting this is because this, number one, this cap band's still here. These shrink, and when they shrink, this doesn't work. Yeah, I very rarely sell these because I get them and they're like, you know, they're like a friction fit. I think I'm going to clean this off here a little bit first before I stick the sack in there. You know, that's why I was drawn to Esterbrook. I didn't need a lot of money. You get one good nib, you know, swap it between models. You can have a different model every day. And use the same nib. What does something like this sell for? I mean, it's just that's a very good question, right? Uh, I would say if you had one that had a better cap, and now remember, I'm a little nutty, okay? Um, I would say it would be. I mean, if you had a good cap, it should be $125 pen, maybe. I mean, as is it a $75 pen? I don't know. But the market for it is very small. Because you got to find somebody who's willing, who wants to buy it as a collectible, primarily. And who doesn't already have the color? Yeah, that is the problem with esoteric. I mean, otherwise you look at it and you go, oh, that's cute. Brian's losing brain cells. Somebody put Brian back to bed. Make sure he gets a nap. I mean, maybe it's a $50 pen as it is. I don't know. I mean, it should be at least, I would say, as is, 50 to 75 bucks. Can you get them for cheaper? You absolutely can. If you buy them in a lot. This barrel is actually quite nice. All right. Time to clean out some caps. My mouse is now white or blue from the blue ink I just dropped on it. Capless rollerball ink washed off of the tape. The rare pen lover in me wants it, but the same part of my brain is telling me I don't need more hard to find cool pens that I and 3 other people care about. Yeah, I mean, I get you. See, that's the part where it's my job to try to sell this crap, get people interested in this crap, tell them how cool it is. Sometimes I'm successful, other times not so much. I mean, and as a whole, it's maybe the most boring color there is, right? I mean, if you had a red one, yeah. I mean, a blue one, great. Green is nice. Gray. Now, don't get me wrong. You come up with a gray pencil, and I'm all over it like flying rice. It probably needs to go to someone who's got that slot missing in his collection. Is where that needs to go. But if you wanted to try to assemble a collection, all 6 colors of those, that's a challenge. All 6 in any condition, because they're all going to be like that. So don't pass any color up. You know, in the Esterbrook world, sometimes you got to wonder, because I know who the other 3 guys are, or two anyway, and you got to wonder if they even care at this point. It would be a funny conversation. It would be a funny dinner. I mean, you know, you can't really do it with vacuumatics and Schaefer's and snorkels. I mean, there's just so many experts and collectors. Esterbrook, it's kind of a small, really a small group. I mean, you could, I suppose, on the snorkel side, maybe. I don't know. But I mean, on the whole, though, you know, the Schaefer snorkels. I mean, there's nothing of this shitty caliber, you know. Yeah, yeah. You've got caps and you've got barrels, is what you got. You know, it's like 51s. But I'm also going a whole range. I'm just picking one subset. I mean, there's lots of cheap, crappy Esterbrooks. Now you love snorkels. You need to get into prototypes and special order nibs for it to be fun. Yeah. And I think that stuff starts around the time you get the second special item, right? You know, they say 3 is a collection, but you get that third piece or that second piece and you go, hey, that's when you start looking for the third one. And then before you know it, you got a ton of them. With Schaefer prototypes, 1 is enough. Yeah. Hey, wait, I got 2 of them over here. Now they're Tyrannus, but does that count? Tyrannus prototypes? I was really excited for that pen when it came out. It still counts. And I remember having a conversation with Ron Zorn about it. And the medium nib was just terrible. It was just terrible. The medium nib was a fine. The fine. I mean, it was like I don't remember who actually made the parts for it, but I don't know if it was Schaefer. But it was like a Japanese company made the parts, because the medium was a fine and the fine was an extra fine, and it was after Letta retired. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, it was a cool design. And then I had one, and I used it as a tester, And at a show, someone either banged the cap on the edge of the table, or they dropped it, and there was a huge dent in the cap. Hey, that's a great writing pen. Here you go. I mean, like, I didn't notice it till after the fact, but I was just excited for Schaefer because it was actually something different. Another reason not to set up at shows, yeah. I had an Esterbrook Esty once that the first batch when they first came out, they they had a few pens that were maybe a little thinner than others. So the wall thickness was really super thin. And I had one that was a really nice writing pen. It was a tortoise gold trim. And I'm at a show. And I mean, I have very few problems, right? I mean, almost none. And then I'm at a show and I dropped the pen. I don't drop pens. It just does. I just something that happens to me, and I'm at a show, so anything can happen. And I accidentally dropped the pen. It hit the carpet, and was it the cap? I can't remember. It like broke. It exploded, and somebody had asked me, "Oh, well, yeah, you got one of these for a tester?" I'm like, "Oh, not handing you that one." I had to run over to the Esterbrook table and say, "Hey, listen, man, this thing broke. You got another one?" They whipped one out so fast, it made your head spin. Gary was good like that, though, when he worked for them. He took care of you. And then the problem went away. It was just like that first batch of pens. Oh. I don't think I ever had any other accidents, though. And I handed out my personal sailors and King of Pens quite often. Someone crushed a section of your oversized balance with their death grip. What? How on earth does that happen? That's kind of nutty. Oh my goodness. Gripped it with such force that it cracked to pieces. Was there a chance that there was maybe a fracture or something? He was trying to sell you insurance and asked to try your pen. At a show? Come on. Don't try to sell people insurance at a show, man. The material could have been defective, but I saw nothing when I restored it. Yeah. Oh, it was in an office. Oh, okay. How did the rest of that meeting go? Just curious. Did you buy the insurance from the guy? Did he give you a deal? I mean, what do you say to that? Well, not well for him. Yeah. You just ruined a $500 pen, bub. Whatever it was, right? Oh my. Yeah, it makes me think of the guy who bought. I told this story before. For those that haven't heard it, we had a in our first location we had some office buildings, office suites, like on the second floor of the plaza. And so at lunch, some of these guys would come down, and they were salesmen. They got their shirt and their tie on. And this one guy came in and he bought an Aurora Ypsilon rollerball. They made some pretty pens, and they were reasonably affordable. And he came back no less than, I think, 3 times, because he pressed so hard you could see the imprint of the ballpoint or the rollerball, whichever one it was. I think it was a rollerball. Yeah, it was a rollerball. Yeah, like 3 or 4 pages deep in the notepad. You could see the impression. And he came back no less than 3 times because he used so much pressure. He kept breaking the plastic sections before, and he admitted that he probably used too much pressure. And we said, you know what? And we would get sections from Aurora, and Kettle was really great about it. They would send me sections, and they'd take care of the guy, and it's free. It doesn't, it's inconvenient. And finally, we said, you either got to lighten up or you need to buy something with the metal section. We ended up selling him a Schaefer Intensity, which is fairly bomb-proof for someone like that. And we never saw him again. He never broke another. I think he never broke that, because that would be really pretty impossible. You were meeting with your regular agent, and she asked if I wanted to talk to her associate about life insurance. Yeah, we were there anyway. Why? Oh, yeah, why not? I met our insurance agent because he came in. Yeah, aptly named Intensity. Yeah, right. He came in to sell me some pens, and he had, what did he have? He had maybe a couple Mont Blancs and a Cartier and a DuPont or something like that. 4, 5, 6 pens, and so I ended up buying them from him. Actually, what I did is I gave him store credit, and then he ended up taking a DuPont in trade, and then he bought a DuPont for his wife, and he had a little bit of store credit left. He got some refills and whatnot. But yeah, he ended up being my insurance agent, and much better deal, much better pricing, much better coverage. But I was happy at the time, because at least if he was switching from Aurora to Schaefer, it was still coming from the same distributor, so I wasn't losing, that distributor wasn't losing the business. But I didn't, he got three, at least three, maybe even four sections he got because they broke. Ooh. All right. Ordered a 4. It means I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna have to work on that stinking nib. Let me think of how you can be distracted. I could be distracted by, well, I got those PFMs that won't open. Yeah, yeah. I'd rather work on the nib. The nib's almost done. I mean, I think I just need to reach out to him and say, listen, I don't, proceeding any further is a risky proposition. I mean, I can't believe I have the only 3 that won't open, but I have 3 that won't open. And I am sure I am being perhaps too gentle, but I don't want to have to be replacing gray PFM sections. I'm half wondering if maybe with enough silicone, it would be enough to allow the snorkel tube to go through the point holder gasket and still seal it up. I'm thinking maybe. And then there's no risk of damage. I'm not as hesitant on snorkels just because you can get the parts, right? And you're not, doesn't open, it doesn't open. You can just replace the whole thing. It's not tough. But PFM, no. I guess I could just try it and see if it works. Yeah, I know it was a tall ask. I can't tell you how much I appreciate um, you finding that for me. I mean, I know the first time I had to find a gray section. I know the first time I had to find a gray blind cap for for one of my pens. It was a couple year wait to find one. Begging would be required. Yeah, no, that's not necessary. That's not, you know, that's not the kind of favor I want to call in, you know. I want to call in the favor when I've got a 58 with I need a nib for, or so, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's not for that. Okay. Those guys are good. Should we test this guy? Hey, look at that. There's a Parker converter. Yeah, I'm going to email him tonight, I think. Yeah, it's not favor level territory. Yeah. I mean, there's not many of them. I know, I get it. I really do. I have somehow gotten flies in my house, and I feel like the Karate Kid where I'm trying to catch them with chopsticks because they're I think there's a space underneath one of my air conditioning units, and they're coming in through that. Do this. Let me check. You need to use 50th anniversary, 100th anniversary branded chopsticks. Chief Goff, thank you for following. Welcome to the madhouse. Yeah, I've got a pair of those around here somewhere. Somewhere I got a pair of them. They came in a little box too, didn't they? A little box for those. Look at that. See, this has been sitting around for 5 years. I know it's a medium nib. It's a 45. Well, what a nice writing pen. Oh my God. I mean, that's not a medium. Now on other papers, maybe it's closer to a medium, but yeah, you'll forget that there's a little scratch there. I mean, price will be reflected in its imperfect condition, but now someone can enjoy it. Back to the topic of great PFMs, or let's talk PFM in general. The sheer lack of numbers of these pens. Were they not popular? And I've asked this before, I suppose. And gray of all colors must have been the worst. They were expensive. Yeah. It was the ballpoint. The ballpoint had one. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the gray PFM was the Mandarin duofold of its decade. 10 years too late. Yeah. I mean, it's sort of become a, there are certain things you don't ever expect to see when you go out in the wild. You don't expect to find a Waterman 20 or, I mean, people do. It doesn't happen often, right? Um, you don't expect to see a Waterman 20 or a 418 or anything like that, But there are two pens I have never ever, or two writing instrument things I have never ever 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 in 27 years of hunting ever found at an antique store ever. And I have gone to hundreds of antique stores. And one is a PFM. I guess that's not true because I found one. I bought one in an estate sale, so I guess that doesn't count. But I found one. Ironically, it was gray. Um, but I've never seen a colored Esterbrook desk base. DB 116 ish, like the ones you sent me. Not dipless, but I've never seen one of the pastel colored desk bases ever in 27 years. Which to me is very weird. I mean, you'll see them on eBay almost every day. Maybe that's where they all are. But it's sort of like a game now. It's like we're actually, Lisa and I got it on the calendar. There's a local place that we like to. We had a good time going to a while back, and we've got it scheduled in for a couple weeks from now. And what was I saying? I lost it. I lost my train of thought. But I've just never found one. It's just a game at this point. We tried once to play antique store bingo. And if you are having a nice relaxed weekend and you're going to hit a couple of antique stores, maybe it is something that you can play. You can actually play it on your phone, which is actually pretty cool. There is there's multiple sites, but there is one site, and I forget what it is. There's a free bingo card generator. And you can have it set so you can play it on your phone, and you can tap the squares, and then they fill in the squares so you can get bingo. And so we did that once. We went on a trip, and we had like, I don't know, 7, 8 antique stores on the list, and we had gone through. We said, well, what are the things that we're going to see at the antique store? We're going to see uranium glass. You're going to see records. And sometimes we got specific. We'd be like, well, I want to see a Beatles album, or Johnny Cash or something like that, uranium glass. Then we would have some pen specific ones, Schaefer, Parker, Esterbrook, because at least you might be guaranteed, at least in Wisconsin, to find a Parker somewhere. Not always, but because you just can't go and not check anything. But we tried it, but it became too distracting to actually finish. Ugly purse or ugly lamp. I mean, it's a riot though. It's really a riot. Highly recommend it. All right, I'm going to look at this nib. Because if I can get this nib done, we can reassemble the pen. And then if we reassemble the pen, I can get these out of here. And hope that the... that seems to be in good shape. One total line within 100 miles. That's that tangerine cream barrel. Can they ship it to your location? Watch you finally get it and you hate it. You'll ask, yeah. I mean, it's not like we're trying to get a wine from France or something here. It seemed like that would be easier. One 127 miles away. Well, you know, I mean, we've done crazier things for pens. It is so tight. If it wasn't, if I could get this a little bit more open, I think. We could call this a day. You must run. Okay. Sounds good, Hans. Thanks so much. Have a great evening. It has this little tight section that I just don't like. But it's a flexible nib, so when they're flexible like this, they're very thin. And they're very easy to rip, believe it or not. Let's try it. Let's see how it works. Might be easier to adjust on the feed in the pen. But since the section is plastic, we are going to heat it. It's got to go in that much. Almost missed the stream. Andy, how you doing? This is the part I hate about Vacuumatics. Taking the nibs out. If you don't have to take them out, don't take them out. Hurting, you had to move furniture to find a pen you dropped last night while writing in bed? Oh no. Mm. No more writing in bed. Well, it's almost there, but it's so tight. Because it's plastic, it doesn't heat as nicely as hard rubber. I'd sure like to see it go down just a little bit more. Only because if they screw the cap down too hard, there's a possibility of damaging the nib if they. There we go. Well, let's see how close we got, huh? Whoops. So it definitely needs to be. sealed. Of course, now my hands are all inky, so I can't tell whether or not. It sure seems to work, though. Let's spin this out and polish the section up, seal it up. It's a pity the barrel's not have any visibility to it. We'll try to clean up this fire mark here. Try to make it look a little nicer. It's pretty. So I kind of lined it up where the better part of the section was, so when you see it, it looks the best. It's not going to be perfect. It's too deep of a mark to go away completely. Short of replacing the section or you could try the super glue trick, but because it's clear, you might still see that scratch mark. So that's not too bad. At least the family will have Grandpa's 2 pens back. So it's still there, but I think it's a little more palatable. So what I want to do is we're gonna seal this up, and then we're gonna try to fill it tomorrow after it dries. And then if it passes that test, then I think it's good to go home. All right. $4.39. Guys, we're gonna need nibs for some of those. Actually, this one was Little whack-a-mole here. It's got one of the later collars, so it'll be easy to knock out to straighten out. It's a little bit kind of like that. Well, actually, it's, yeah, the nib is this way. The nib's on top. Um, so the later ones don't have that crimp. You don't really have to worry about breaking them when you take them out. Because now I can't get the collar out. Still a lot of ink in there from, even after being in the ultrasonic. Quite a bit of corrosion on the underside. Sometimes it's just easier to take the wire wheel and clean it out that way. All right, let's see if this. Problem with these, if they don't have that little notch, is you have to find kind of the bump out where the nib was. Looks like it was maybe right there. That's the top. This one, for some reason, is much more difficult than others I've seen. But it almost doesn't matter because it'll go on either way. All right, this one we can't use. Unless anybody can figure out how to make a one-tie nib right. Okay. Ooh, sorry for the yawn. Stub time. Really, really short stub. Which is a shame because this is an early 2048. Oh, this is not too early. It doesn't say Durachrome on it, but it's a Falcon. Nice flat feed nib. I mean, we can cut it down to here. And let's see, there's going to be that much more. We could trim it down and maybe shove it out. Yeah, grind this down. So here's the other thing we have to do. Is we have to cut off the end of, or trim down the end of the feed would probably be easiest. Or because you'd risk damaging the collar by pushing it up. Now there's a pin here. See that? We got to knock that out first. There's the other side. Hard to see. It's rusted, so it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be a real pain. That may or may not come out. Osmoid nibs fit in all Esterbrooks. Yep. SJs, LJs, Js, B, A, H, CH, XYZ, PDQ. Yeah. The only thing that's nice about this is you got this really kind of super sexy semi-flat feed here. Nice profile. If you could get the pin out, then you wouldn't necessarily even have to put it back in place because the collars are tight enough, right? You could reuse the feed on another nib. And 2556s, 2668s were made pretty early on. So when I was doing these for a while, because I was knocking these out and then replacing, I would do this exact same thing. This is what I have. I'm like, okay, well, that's not going to work. I take a modern 1940s version of the 2556 because the imprint is exactly the same. They didn't change it. You can slide it on here and boom, you're done. But you got to get that pin out first. Which gives me a really grand idea for a tool. All right. Excuse me. Ooh, sorry for the yawn. I was up early. I think we're going to leave it at that for today. Let me put my tools away here. Yeah, that's the beauty of Osmoroid. Venus too. So if you have Venus, Venus isn't half bad. Osmoroid is, they're fine. Some of them are a little better than others. I mean, they do have all those funky obliques and italics and musics and sketch pens with feeds on them. Just caught them that time. So there's and we have actually we'll have on Friday we'll have a pretty huge selection of Osmoroid nibs. New old stock. Pretty cool. They do not fit Esterbrook Estes with the MV adapter. While the threading is the same, the Osmoroid nib has a little bit of a feed that sticks out in the back. And it doesn't fit. So keep that in mind. While the threading is correct, you would either, you would, if you wanted to use those, you would have to either transplant the nib, use an Esterbrook feed, or cut off that back part of the feed. There's a little part that comes out. It's the only way it would fit. Esterbrook nibs, of course, fit in the MV adapter, but the Osmoroid nibs do not. Too long. Not gonna work. So, so tomorrow what do we have? We've got the Catholic Order of Foresters. We've got Return to Farwell, Osmond, Kirk and Company. We've got a Canadian, and we've got this kind of ugly thing. You know, it's got its charm, I suppose. I wonder if we could fill that in with what a pain in the butt that would be, right? Fill that in with some super glue gel and then sand it down. It would be great. It'd be easy on this side, but that is going to be tough as in this part here. Or fill it in with another destroyed gray one, and so we could get the color to match. I mean, it is what it is. It's a weird pen. It'll be whatever price it's going to be. We got that guy clean, so I can put that away. All right, so we got a couple things done, I guess. It doesn't seem like we got much done, but hey, we were here today. OBS worked great. Apparently, we'll see if it saves like I asked it to. And chat worked, so I call it a win today. Oh, we got that green Parker Eversharp done. That was a nice nib. That was a nice pen. So anyway, I'm gonna cut it off here. We're just shy of 5 o'clock. Lisa's getting off of work soon, so I'm gonna assess the food situation in the pantry and get on with the rest of the day. So, thanks, Jason. I hope your pens come tomorrow. They should. I'll double check the tracking, but yeah. Have a good night, everyone. A good afternoon, a good morning, wherever you are. Be kind, be well, and we will see you tomorrow afternoon.